What if I told you there are hidden console commands that can give you a massive competitive advantage? Commands that most players don't even know exist. In this video, I'm revealing 10 game-changing console commands that will completely transform your CS2 experience. We're talking about commands that optimize your network for lightning-fast response times, give you perfect radar awareness, eliminate sound delays that cost you clutch rounds, and even help you hit more consistent shots with snipers. These commands will give you the tools that separate average players from true champions. If you're not sure you can trust me, I'm Louis, a 3000 ELO player on FACEIT, and I play internationally with Team USA at LAN events around the world. I've included timestamps in the description below, so you can skip ahead or revisit any tip you'd like. So first, we're going to start off with enabling the developer console. So if you go into your settings, go into game, and you want to enable yes for the enabled developer console. This will make it so you can pull up your console completely, and then you can type in the commands that we're going to go over. And the first command that we're going to go over is the rate command. So this command, the default rate is 786432. So in order to find what rate you should be using, you take your internet speed connection times 13107.2, and this will give you the rate that you should be using. Now, if the number that you get is over 1,000,000, then obviously you want to be using the rate 1,000,000. So for me, I use rate 1,000,000, and what this does is it pretty much just makes the game more responsive because it can send more data. Now, a really useful command that can help you on the radar is your radar scale and making it dynamic. So if you search radar dynamic, you're going to see mine is set to true. So you want to make sure that this is turned on, and there's a good reason why it should be on. So you can see on my mini map how it's already zoomed out in the top left, but the closer I get to my teammate, you're going to see that it's going to start to zoom in. Now, the reason it does this is having a good dynamic zoom. So no matter where you are on the map, you can always see where your teammates are, and it will automatically scale for you. So if I were to run away, the game would make sure that this teammate is always going to be on the radar. Now, if you ever notice that sounds are disabled inside of CS2, one thing that you can do is use this command right here. If you type this command in, you'll see that this is your actual sound delay in the game. So a lot of times when you're shooting headshots or maybe just hitting people in the body, you might notice that sounds might be delayed, but you guys can actually fix this. So if you change this to 0.001, you'll notice an increase at responsive sound. So when you actually do shoot someone in the head, or if you do hear someone jump, you're going to hear it a lot faster than what they actually hear. Now, when I shoot my gun, you might see tracers going behind the bullets, and I think this is really good to help you control your recoil so you can actually see where your bullets are going. But you can actually turn this off in the console with the R_draw tracers _ first person, and you can change this to 0. This will make it so there's no longer any first person tracers. Now, yes, the enemies can still see your tracers if you decide to shoot through smokes. Now, as most of you guys know, b-hopping isn't even a thing inside of CS2 anymore, but there's actually a cool little trick to make your b-hops really consistent. If you change your max FPS to 32, yes, it will make your game lag, but this will match like the tick rate of the server, so all your b-hops are actually consistent. So one thing that you guys can do is actually have a toggle. So for me, I have a toggle on P where it will change my FPS back to 999, and then if I want to hit b-hops, I can simply just click P, and it's going to change my max FPS so I can match the server tick rate and hit some really good consistent b-hops. Now we'll go over how to remove this annoying text in the bottom left of your screen, but first let me tell you about the Monkey. SkinsMonkey is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade, and if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you, SkinsMonkey, for sponsoring this video. Now, if you want to know how to get rid of this thing right here, which is the build info, there's a easy console command that you guys can use, which if you just search up build, you'll see the command pop up right here, and all you have to do is just type in 0 or false, and this will turn this off. Now, if you ever felt that sniping was just off either with a scout or with an op, you can see the scope is thin, and also depending on your res, it could even look thinner. So one thing that we can do is if we search up sniper width, we can see that we can actually change the width of the sniper crosshair. So if I change it to 2, you're going to see that the scope is a lot thicker, and I actually find this a lot more comfortable when I am opping. It is just a preference command, but you can change it to anything you want. You can even make it 10, or if you want a super thick sniper scope, this is something that you could do. Now, if you missed the net graph that CSGO used to give us, there's actually one that you can use. If you do CL_show FPS, there's 3 different options we can use. The first one is just showing our FPS here in the top left, as you can see, and then there's also the number 2 where it's showing some other statistics that really may not be important, just some like frame times and everything like that, which pretty much the old net graph used to show. And then there's also the third one, which pretty much just makes it green with a lot more other commands. Now, this command is good if you have never played a map inside of Counter-Strike. Now, the first thing that we need to do is enable SV cheats 1, because this is a cheat command that you have to use in an offline server. Now, if we search Battlefront in our console and turn this to true, this is going to show us where we are going to see enemies first. So if you were to hold W out of spawn, these are the places that you would encounter enemies first. And this is really good to understand timings on the map. So if I were to hold W from CT spawn all the way into E-box, you would see that I would be seeing enemies around this area, and it would be vice versa as well for T side. Now, since this is a Valve map command, I'm sure they don't really understand and cover all of the pathing, but for most parts, this is where you're going to be encountering enemies first majority of the time. Now, this does work for all maps, but it doesn't cover like the extra pathing and movement tricks that you could use. But if you are new to a CS map and you want to see where you're going to be seeing enemies first, this is a good command that you can definitely use. Now, if you ever wanted to see most of the commands inside of the command console, if you guys type find all, this will show you most of the commands inside of CS2. Now, there is a lot, but they actually categorize this very well, where if you scroll to the top, you can pretty much see which ones you can use in game, which ones will be affected if you need cheats on. There's all these things where it flags it. So if you want to find the commands that you can actually use in game, you want to find the commands that are client and archive. This means that it's saving inside of your config and it's client sided for you only. Now, the commands that you can't use are obviously the ones that are like game, cheat, and other things like that. But if you are looking for some commands, or maybe some commands that a lot of people don't know about, this is definitely the way to do it, because you can actually deep dive and even see what each command does.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on the 14 mistakes you need to avoid as a beginner by clicking the video on screen now.